President Tinubu approves the posting of Ambassadors-Designate. Lassa fever claims 2 lives in Benue as cases rise to 9. Makinde rules out defection plans after meeting Tinubu. On the international scene, WFP says food aid cuts put 1 million at risk in northeast Nigeria. And on sports update, additional named Big 12 Athlete of the Week. Hello and welcome to the Standard Voice Global News. My name is Musa Mohammed. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the posting of 3 ambassadors-designate out of the 68 confirmed by the Senate last December. Tinubu confirmed the postings of Ambassador Ayodele Oke as the ambassador-designate to France and Colonel Latif Are as the ambassador-designate to the United States of America. Also confirmed by the President is the posting of Ambassador Amin Al-Hatu, former ambassador to South Korea, as the High Commissioner designate to the United Kingdom. In a memo to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the President urged the ministry to notify the governments of the 3 countries about the ambassadors designate in accordance with diplomatic procedures. At least 2 people have died from Lassa fever in Benue State, as the number of confirmed cases has risen to 9, health authorities have said. Officials disclosed that the latest deaths were recorded in separate locations, raising concerns over the spread of the viral disease across the state. The Benue State Ministry of Health said surveillance and response activities have been intensified, including contact tracing and public sensitization to contain the outbreak. Residents have been urged to maintain good hygiene practices and report suspected cases promptly to health facilities for early treatment. The National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, has listed 96 complaints on fathers who abandoned their children among the 285 rights violations cases reported to it in Gombe in 2025. Gombe NHRC spokesman Mr. Ali Lola Affinity revealed this in an interview with newsmen in Gombe on Thursday. He listed other rights violations to include 59 cases of inhuman and degrading treatment, 36 cases on right to property, and 16 denial of access to justice. Adding that others are 14 cases on alleged threat to life, 6 cases on child custody, among others. He appeals to parents to work towards protecting their children and ensuring that they were well taken care of educationally, health-wise, among others. In 2023, 106 cases of fathers abandoning their children were recorded, while in 2024, 127 cases were reported. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has reaffirmed his commitment to the People's Democratic Party, declaring his comfort in the opposition party despite a growing wave of high-profile defections to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Makinde told journalists that he is comfortable in PDP after closed-door talks with President Bola Tinubu at the State House in Abuja on Thursday. He emphasized that his visit to the president was focused on governance matters affecting the nation rather than party political considerations, and willing to work with the president on matters of national interest. His party allegiance remains unwavering. The governor's statement comes as the PDP faces its most significant challenge since 2015, with governors, senators, and other high-profile members abandoning the party for the ruling APC or other platforms. A socio-political organization, Plateau Vanguard for Democracy (PVD), has urged residents of Plateau State to rise above ethnic and partisan sentiments following the defection of Governor Caleb Mutfwang to the All Progressives Congress (APC). Chairman of the group, Mr. Christopher Ishaku, made the call in a statement issued on Thursday in Abuja. Ishaku said the governor's political decision should not be allowed to divide the state or reopen older fault lines, but should rather be seen as an opportunity to unite Plateau people around a shared vision of progress and development. He noted that Plateau's history of political and criminal tensions had often hampered development, stressing that the current situation calls for maturity, restraint, and collective responsibility from all stakeholders. He urged residents to embrace a new Plateau anchored on peace, unity, and sustainable development. We now move to business news. Haifa, Nigeria, an international NGO, has unveiled the 2026 Ayute Nigeria Challenge, offering $40,000 to support youth-led agri-tech innovations, transforms Nigeria's food system, and improve smallholder farmers' incomes. Also, the World Economic Forum, WEF, will resume hosting its Africa Summit in South Africa in April 2027, ending a 7-year hiatus triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic, the organization has said. Abdul Karim Suleiman takes it from here.
The disclosure was made on Thursday in Abuja during the unveiling of the 2026 Annual Agriculture, Youth and Technology Initiative, themed Catalyzing Youth-Led Innovation to Transform Nigerian Food System. Dr. Lekan Tobi, Country Director, Haifa Nigeria, said the 2026 edition will focus on identifying innovations that are technically feasible, climate smart, and capable of delivering tangible value to smallholder farmers who drive Nigeria's agri-economy. According to him, the organization will provide financial and technical resources to transform youth-led technology-driven ideas into scalable tools capable of strengthening Nigerian agricultural value chain. Also speaking, Mr. Chuba Ezeegu, Communication Manager, Haifa Nigeria, said the IoT Nigerian Challenge, which began in 2022, had attracted over 2,000 countries across editions. He said the grand prize winner will receive $20,000, while the first runner-up and second runner-up will receive $12,000 and $8,000 respectively. He added that successful participants will also receive post-award business advisory support to help translate their ideas into viable expansion strategies. In his remarks, Mustafa Abokede, venture lead at Venovation Hub, the project technical partner, said the participation was designed to identify farmer-centric technologies that could withstand market realities. The initiative award up to $40,000 in each participating country, including Ethiopia, Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, Senegal, Tanzania, and Uganda. Meanwhile, the World Economic Forum will resume hosting its African Summit in South Africa in April 2027, ending a 7-year hiatus triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic. The organization has said this marks a significant return of one of the continent's most prominent global economic convenings. The meeting will be held either in Johannesburg or Cape Town, according to Chido Muyati, head of African at the WEF, who disclosed the plan in an interview with CNBC Africa on the sideline of the forum's annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland. The revival of the African Summit comes at a critical moment for the continent as governments and businesses navigate post-pandemic recovery, persistent debt pressure, currency volatility, and slower global growth, alongside opportunities linked to energy transition, digitalization, and regional trade integration. The last WEF African meeting took place in Cape Town from September 4 to 6, 2019, moment before the outbreak of the pandemic forced the cancellation of large-scale international gatherings and disrupt the forum's regional program. Since then, African-focused discussions have largely been folded into the WEF's annual Davos meeting and other global platforms, limiting a dedicated space for in-depth engagement on the continent's specific challenges and opportunities. South Africa, which has previously hosted multiple editions of the summit, is seen as a natural choice given its relatively developed infrastructure and role as a gateway for international engagement with the continent.
Now a look at the international scene.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
No fewer than 1 million people in northeast Nigeria could lose emergency food and nutrition assistance unless funding is secured within weeks. Also on the international scene, the United States has raised serious concerns over Nigeria's ability to protect Christian communities following the abduction of 177 worshippers in Kaduna State, as bandits were on Thursday sighted moving freely through forest corridors with their captives, days after storming churches without resistance. Bilkis Abdullahi Haruna takes us round the globe.
According to a press release on the World Food Programme's website on Thursday, Nigeria is facing one of the worst hunger crises in recent times. WFP is said to be the world's largest humanitarian organization, saving lives in emergencies and using food assistance to build pathways to peace, stability, and prosperity for people recovering from conflicts, disasters, and the impact of climate change. The United Nations World Food Programme is sounding the alarm as more than 1 million people in northeast Nigeria risk being cut off from emergency food and nutrition assistance within weeks unless urgent new funding is received. WFP said that violence is surging across the north, and the organization is being forced to slash food assistance from 1.3 million people down to only 72,000 people. The WFP said nearly 35 million people are projected to face acute and severe food insecurity. They include roughly 15,000 people in Borno who risk falling into catastrophic hunger a step away from famine. The WFP said these are the worst levels of hunger recorded in decades. It added that it is urgently seeking $129 million to sustain its operation in the northeast over the next 6 months. The Global Food Agency warned that its operations could shut down unless the funds are received. In another story, the United States has raised serious concern over Nigeria's ability to protect Christian communities following the abduction of 177 worshippers in Kaduna State, as bandits were on Thursday sighted mourning freely through forest corridors with their captives, days after storming churches without resistance. On Sunday, gunmen attacked 3 churches in Kurmin community in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State and whisked away more than 177 worshippers, with 11 managing to escape while 166 are still in captivity. The U.S. warning came as a high-level delegation of their officials arrived in Nigeria on Thursday on a week-long diplomatic tour aimed at reviewing counter-terrorism efforts and the protection of vulnerable religious groups across Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. The meeting is part of the United States-Nigeria Joint Working Group and was co-chaired by the National Security Advisor and the U.S. Under-Secretary of State for Political Affairs, Alison Hooker. It took place amid heightened diplomatic tensions after U.S. President Donald Trump designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern over alleged religious freedom violations. However, the federal government has repeatedly dismissed claims of systematic Christian persecution, maintaining that insecurity affects citizens of all religious backgrounds. Hooker said the mass abduction in Kaduna underscored persistent security failures that the Nigerian government must urgently address. She added that advancing religious freedom and security will deepen U.S.-Nigeria relations in other areas, including trade, economic cooperation, health response, and the fight against terrorism. The abductors have reportedly demanded the return of 17 motorcycles valued at 28.9 million naira, which they claim were seized during recent military operations as a condition for the release of the victims. Bilkisu Haruna Abdullahi, SVTV News.
On entertainment news, Italian fashion legend Valentino Garavani, whose elegant evening gowns were favored for decades by some of the world's most glamorous women, has died at the age of 93. According to a statement issued by his foundation, Garavani died at his residence in Rome, Italy, surrounded by his family members. The statement added that his funeral will take place on Friday, January 23 at the Basilica of Santa Maria Angela Lamarmate. Take 2. The statement added that his funeral will take place on Friday, January 23 at the Basilica of Santa Maria. The deceased was born in the northern Italian town of Voghera in 1932. Valentino, popularly known simply by his first name, learned his craft in the haute couture ateliers of Paris before founding his own fashion house in Rome in 1959. Early in his career, he became renowned for his red dresses, a rich scarlet shade that became his signature color and was widely known in the industry by Valentino Red. We now peep into the world of sports, where Nigeria's national record holder in the women's high jump, Temitope Adesina, has been named the Big 12 Indoor Track and Field Athlete of the Week, following her first victory of the new season at the Koki Classic last weekend. Shamsuddin Abubakar Sadoki reports.
Adesina named Big 12 Atlanta of the Week. Reports indicate that the Big 12 is the collegiate athletic conference in the United States, consisting of the 16 full members universities, 3 private and 13 public across the states of Arizona, Caracoda, Florida, Iowa, Kansas, Ohio, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, and West Virginia. Adesina received the honor alongside her Texas Tech teammate Jonathan Sirema and Baylor's Tita Kelly last week. The high jumper enjoyed stellar's season opener, winning the Koki Classic with a clearance of 1.93, 6 feet 4 in, which tied her number 2 all-time school record. She also shared the best mark in NCAA division on the women's side this season, placing her second in the world standing. Adesina, 27, who holds the Nigerian emotional record in the high jump both indoors and outdoors, entering the third year of the collegiate career with optimism. In another story, Galatasaray striker Victor Osimhen has revealed that he has tried to convince Super Eagles teammates Ademola Lookman and Rafael Oyedeka to join him at the Turkish champions, described the club as one of the best teams in the world. Both Lookman and Oyedeka have been linked with the transfer to Galatasaray, and Osimhen has opened up about his efforts to pursue them to make the move. However, both are reportedly not open to the sale. According to the Turkish publication Forza, Victor Osimhen said he spoke to Lookman before Nigerian World Cup qualifier and gave him the details about the life at the Istanbul. He added that the Lookman has so much quality and good player who is a very flawed and talented. He awaited his response with his agent as well as his club. According to the Belgian publication HLN, Belgian side are not willing to let Oyedeka leave this January, despite substantial interest from the Turkish giant, while club Brugge are not averse to the selling Oyedeka for the right place. Any January deal will require an offer the simple cannot be refused. To the club stance may subtend in the summer. Oyedeka contract running until 2027. Following the run from the AFCON, Osimhen's Galatasaray played out a 1-1 draw against Atletico Madrid in Turkey, while Lookman provided an assist in Atlanta's 3-2 lose to Atlético Bilbao in Bergamo. Oyedika's Club Brugge rotated to the Kairat Almat 4-1 away. Shamsuddin Abubakar Sadauki reporting for SVTV News, Kaduna.
That was the size of our news package. But before we go, another look at the highlights. President Tinubu approves the posting of Ambassadors-Designate. Lassa fever claims 2 lives in Benue as cases rise to 9. Makinde rolls out defection plans after meeting Tinubu. On the international scene, WFP says food aid cuts put 1 million at risk in northeast Nigeria. And on sports update, additional named Big 12 Athlete of the Week. With that sports update, we end today's SVTV Global News. On behalf of the production editor and the production crew, I'm Musa Alhaji Muhammad, wishing you a pleasant time.